Hello there, dear friends, and welcome once again to the Relaxed Fantasy Review. Today, we're going to be having a look at a subclass of the Warlock, straight out of Xanathar's Guide to Everything, the Celestial Warlock. A very interesting idea for a Warlock. Simply put, the Celestial Warlock, like every other Warlock, has a patron that gives them their magic, but in this case, it's something celestial. An angel, a unicorn, some sort of godly being that isn't actually a god, otherwise, you'd be a cleric, not a warlock. But the idea that you can be a warlock that doesn't serve a dark entity or a fairy or a demon and instead you serve a celestial being is kind of cool. But how does it work out mechanically? Well, starting right away at level 1, you get an expanded spell list. These spells give you extra options to choose from rather than granting you the spells automatically. There's some cool ones in here. You got Cure Wounds and Revivify, and Greater Restoration, Guiding Bolts, Guardian of Faith, Wall of Fire. There's some good stuff here. Not all of them are super awesome. Daylight's in there, but I'd say 8 out of 10 overall for the spell list. Especially if you want to grab Revivify, I'd highly recommend that one. But you also get some bonus cantrips. They don't count against your cantrips known. Light and Sacred Flame. Getting 2 bonus cantrips is not bad. Sacred Flame's a decent attack. I mean, it's no Eldritch Blast, but it's something if you don't want to use Eldritch Blast for some reason. And Light can be handy in a pinch. I wouldn't pick it myself out of a list, but, 8 out of 10 for 2 free cantrips. Why not? And then finally, at first level, because you get like 3 things, you get Healing Light. You get a pool of d6s equal to 1 plus your Warlock level. As a bonus action, you can spend dice from the pool, a number equal to your Charisma modifier. You roll them, and you heal someone with them. That is really awesome. The dice restore on a long rest instead of a short rest, but still, that's a bunch of free healing. Like, why have Cure Wounds when you have that? And it works at a range of 60 feet on a bonus action. This is just super healing word that doesn't require a spell slot. This is very similar to the Dreams Druid pool of dice. This is 10 out of 10. Like, I wouldn't even take Cure Wounds or the other healing spells, again, except for probably Revivify. But even then, like, as long as I'm within 60 feet of someone, I can restore their hit points with a bonus action. Who's gonna die in the party? And yeah, so 10 out of 10 for that, for sure. Then at level 6, you get Radiant Soul. You get resistance to radiant damage, which is always nice to have a damage resistance. And if you cast a spell that deals radiant or fire damage, you can add your charisma modifier to the damage roll of the spell. This only works against 1 damage roll, but it would be cool to like be able to add your charisma modifier to like Sacred Flame, for example. It's just a nice way to buff up your spell a little bit. It's not a whole lot of damage. I give it 7 out of 10, but it's not useless. And I would say tacking this onto a cantrip, for example, would be great. Then at 10th level, you get Celestial Resilience. You gain temporary hit points every time you finish a rest, short or long. They equal your Warlock level plus your Charisma modifier. So at this point, assuming your Charisma modifier is 4 or 5, that's 14 or 15 temporary hit points every time you rest. And when you finish the rest, you also choose up to 5 other creatures, and they gain half your Warlock level plus your Charisma modifier and temporary hit points. So every short rest, you get 15 temp hit points, and your whole party gets like 10. That's fantastic. And it keeps going up with your level. So at the higher levels of the game, you're going to be getting like 25 and 20 hit points or 15 hit points handed out to your whole party when you rest, which is going to top off your healing. It's going to buff you up. It reduces the amount of spells people need to cast. Now, unfortunately, temp hit points don't stack in D&D, so you can't do this in addition to some other temporary hit point buffs. But it's still really, really good. It's a lot of temporary HP, and it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost a spell slot, nothing. You just gotta, happens when you take a rest, for free. 10 out of 10. 100%, 10 out of 10. And finally, at 14th level, you get Searing Vengeance. If you have to make a saving throw at the start of your turn, so you're at 0 hit points and you have to make a death save, you can instead choose to instantly get back up on your feet. You get half of your hit points back, and any creature within 30 feet of you takes radiant damage equal to 2d8 plus your charisma mod, and they're blinded until the end of the current turn that you're on, which is probably your turn. You can do this once per long rest. It's a free get out of jail free card that gives you half your hit points back and damages enemies around you that are trying to take you down. Yeah, it's a nice little feature, and I give it 9 out of 10. Why not? It's a nice final ability for the Warlock. And overall, I give the Celestial Warlock 9 out of 10. Like, they have a lot of cool powers. I will say that Radiant Soul is a little lackluster. I would have preferred it if it just gave you a flat damage buff rather than your charisma modifier being added. But still, it's not bad. And Celestial Resilience is money. Absolute money. The healing dice, it's all good stuff. 9 out of 10, high 9 out of 10. Really recommend the Celestial Warlock. This has been the Relaxed Fantasy Review. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe down below, and keep your eyes peeled for more subclass reviews coming down the line soon. Have a good one, my friends.